Unusual events often shape the course of human history. But have you ever wondered about a moment in time when the very sky itself seemed to conspire against an entire empire? Today, on Chronicles of Human History, we're unraveling a tale unlike any other, a story born from the depths of the earth that reached up and clawed at the heavens themselves. Stay with me until the end. You will see the world differently by the time we're done. It's the summer of 1815. The world is no stranger to war and political upheaval, but there's one man causing tremors across Europe: Napoleon Bonaparte. Having declared himself emperor, his ambitions know no bounds. But as Napoleon plans his next military advance, on a small Indonesian island thousands of miles away, nature has quietly begun weaving a masterpiece of destruction, Mount Tambora. You may not have heard of it, but this eruption would prove to be the largest recorded volcanic explosion in human history. So imagine this. It begins with subtle rumbling beneath the earth, growing louder each day. Then, on April 10, 1815, the mountain roars to life, its guttural cry reverberating through land and sea. Molten rock hurls miles into the sky, meeting the cold atmosphere, where ash particles scatter like shattered glass. This was no ordinary eruption. The violence of Tambora sent 36 cubic miles of ash, rock, and toxic gases into the stratosphere, high enough to alter the planet itself. Entire villages around the island of Sumbawa were buried alive. An estimated 100,000 people lost their lives directly in this catastrophe. But the real story wasn't just the lives in the immediate blast zones. It was what came next. The ash cloud, suspended high above the earth, traveled worldwide. Jet streams carried these particles across oceans, reflecting sunlight back into space. The global temperature started to drop. What came to be known as the year without a summer had begun. Napoleon, ambitious as ever, had recently been defeated at Leipzig and exiled to Elba. But Europe was a ticking political powder keg, and in March 1815, Napoleon escaped exile to reclaim his throne. The 100 Days Campaign, as it would later be called, culminated in one of the most famous battles of all time, the Battle of Waterloo in June 1815. But here's the question. Was Waterloo just a battle of men and tactics, or did the sky itself play a decisive role? It's not just dramatic speculation. The weather over Waterloo that fateful June had been bizarre. Endless rain fell in the days leading up to the battle, leaving fields waterlogged beyond imagination. Soldiers and horses sank into thick, sticky mud, unable to maneuver with any kind of speed. This mud delayed Napoleon's forces by hours, disrupting his well-honed strategy. His infamous artillery, often the backbone of his brutal efficiency in combat, became firmly lodged into the swamp-like fields of Belgium. Heavy cannonballs, meant to crash through enemy fortifications, instead buried themselves harmlessly into the muck. Opposing forces under the Duke of Wellington, combined with Prussian reinforcements led by Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher, exploited this delay to their enormous advantage. History tells us Napoleon fell, but what it doesn't often highlight is how earth and sky converged to seal his fate. Let's go back to the root cause. The sky, choked with volcanic ash from Tambora, had begun reflecting light, cooling the northern hemisphere. This sudden climatic shift created a cascade of effects, not least of which was unprecedented rainfall. To give you some geographical context, the ash cloud didn't just hover above Europe. It caused food shortages across New England, drove mass migrations in Europe, and left haunting paintings, like Turner's eerie red skies, that still hang in museums today. In China, it drove drought followed by famine. In India, monsoons failed, harvesting seasons collapsed, and temple bells rang to encourage rainfall. Napoleon, though no stranger to unforeseen disasters, remember his doomed march on Moscow under brutal Russian winters, may never have imagined that an Indonesian volcano could upend his final battle. But history, it seems, has an extraordinary talent for aligning seemingly unrelated events in a way that reshapes fate itself. One minute you're the mastermind of an empire, the next you're trapped by soggy soil. What's fascinating is how Tambora's explosion influenced not just warfare, but also art, science, and culture. Mary Shelley, the visionary author of Frankenstein, penned her masterpiece during the same dreary year without a summer. Meteorologists retroactively coined the term volcanic winter to understand these strange conditions. And yet, something else lingered in the shared subconscious of humanity. For centuries afterward, people told stories of skies turning an eerie orange-red, crops dying mysteriously, and the air itself feeling heavier, burning their throats. Now let's pause for a moment. Isn't it poetic? On one side, you have Napoleon, the self-declared master of his own destiny, wielding armies, cunning military strategies, and the insatiable ambition of a conqueror. On the other, an island, remote and silent, with forces far beyond human reckoning brewing deep beneath its surface. Empires are mighty, but the natural world remains undefeated in its scope. Time and time again, history teaches us that humanity's greatest triumphs and tragedies are often as much a result of what lies beyond us as what lies within. So the next time you look at a volcano, consider this. It's not just a mountain. It's a ticking time bomb of possibility, one that might at any moment rewrite the rules of the world you know. And as much as humanity strives to tame nature through technology and ingenuity, the scars of past eruptions remain eternal reminders that we are not separate from nature's story. We are deeply, irrevocably entwined. The story of Tambora and the year without summer isn't merely a cautionary tale. It's a haunting example of how interconnected our world really is. Europe's destiny was shaped not only by a man with grand ambitions, but also by the sky itself, an unwelcome, unintended consequence of an event halfway across the world. It's a history lesson, yes, but it's also a story that resonates with us as we face climate challenges today. Tambora's eruption tells us, we are all under the same sky.